You talking about me? Are you talking about me?
Happy Monday, everyone. So, today we are talking about how to deal with overly emotional people. Really, the question came from one of my colleagues, and he's been begging me to make this video about dealing with, specifically for him, it was an overly emotional young lady. But I feel like this is going to pertain to all kinds of people because I've also seen the flip side of overly emotional men and so forth and so on. And the thing is, it's how do you deal with this? Here's the first step. And if you guys knew the real story behind this, you'd be cracking up. But I'm going to be as kind of I'm trying to, look at the forest here and not just that one tree because that's a hot mess. All right. But hey, here I am making a video, and I think this might help a lot of people. So when you're dealing with an overly emotional person, there's a few reasons why that's usually happening. In most situations, especially in a relationship situation, it's because you've had sex. And having that connection and that bond will usually create a chemical process in the body, especially using oxytocin, that creates a bonding feeling which we associate with love. When the person that you've bonded with and you're having these feelings is not feeling the same way for whatever reason, because we can suppress those hormones in our body if we're not in touch with our own emotions, and we were able to shut off that part just to have the physical connection and maybe a good laugh or two, we will be very cold to the person who is having the full out experience and the full out chemical experience. This is something we have to really understand, because when that's happening, crazy things are happening. People actually feel crazy because their serotonin levels are being messed with as well in that process. And if you realize, when people often have to go take medication for mental illness, for severe depression, it's their serotonin levels that are messed up. So now let's get to that overly emotional person, that person that can't stop crying. They're always crying. They're begging you, why don't you like me? Why don't you love me? Yada, yada, yada. Well, I just told you they're having some severe issues with their serotonin levels. That maybe you weren't the cause of it, maybe it was the bonding that was the cause of it, or maybe it was a long time ago things were happening. But guess what? It's going on. So how do you deal with it? One, get in touch with your own emotions. If you don't know how to get in touch with your own emotions, get a book. How to Get in Touch with My Emotions. It's in a book. Go to the library, look in this like emotional section, look up the word emotions. You're going to find different things. You need to increase your emotional intelligence. You need to understand what to deal with certain emotions. I can give you a big hint. If you're angry, you need to create some boundaries, some new boundaries. If you are sad, you need to give some time and space to that situation. You're essentially feeling a loss. So that person, for example, is probably feeling very sad because of the loss that they're feeling, and they're constantly crying and constantly releasing. They actually need time and space. Now, their instinct, because they don't have emotional intelligence, which is why they're so out of control, is to reach out to you, and they want you to fix it. But if you were actually honoring and respecting them, you would say, you know what, you need time and space to mourn this loss. So if you're in a relationship with them, you'd break up with them because that's what they need, because you aren't able to give them what they need. All right. So emotional intelligence, get in touch with your own emotions, and you might actually know how to handle someone else's emotions because you understand what they need at the time. All right. The second one is, if you're in a relationship with, and I just alluded to it, break up with this person if you cannot handle their emotions. If you are saying this is way too much. If it's too much, it's too much. It means you guys aren't compatible. It's not working. One person is feeling something much stronger than the other person, and why does that other person have to go through the sense of torture that they're feeling emotionally for so long? Just because maybe you guys have fun every once in a while, doing whatever. It doesn't have to just be sex, even though we know most of the times that's what this is. But whatever, I'm gonna act like it's not that. Okay, but maybe it's something else. Maybe it's just you maybe it's a work colleague. Who knows? All right. But dealing with an overly emotional person, they need that time and space, and so you need to cut things off with them. That's very, very important for their own. And it's having an honest conversation, saying, we're not compatible. I'm not able to serve you in the way you need to be served, or give to you what you need. So we're going to need some space. That's one way to deal with an overly emotional person. And I think that's one of the most important ways. This is the thing, and I go by a beautiful, beautiful saying. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. By the great Johnny Cochran. We have to understand something, that if you are not compatible with someone for whatever reason, you don't have to force it. If you want to get to know this person, then that means a lot of times you have to open up to yourself and understand what you're going through, because a lot of times if you are holding on to someone who's overly emotional and you're wanting to deal with them, it sounds to me that you have some insecurities of your own, because truthfully, you wouldn't want to see that person in so much pain, so much, usually over you, if you didn't have some insecurities. And no, I'm not getting down my work colleague, but we've all been there. And I can say I've been in that position on both ends. So I'm speaking from experiencing, understanding there were some insecurities on my part at one point. And then on the other end, it's always insecurity, just so you guys know. Because that overly emotional outburst is essentially someone seeking security. They want to feel that sense of security. It's very clear. And someone holding on to or keeping that overly emotional person in their realm is also insecure, meaning it's like they want to see the sense of emotion somewhere. They crave it, and they'll keep that person around just to see it, just to see that someone else is feeling what they feel, but they suppress it. So I hope this is giving you some good information, and it's really about, one, you got to get to know yourself, deal with your own emotions, learn your emotions. Get a book. Get a book, please. Go on Amazon, go to the library, go to Barnes and Nobles, get a book, and learned about how to deal with the emotions. They have wonderful books out there. And then two, you need to sever that relationship and really do a good job in severing it until you can get right within yourself to actually honor and respect the people around you. All right, have a great Monday. Happy Monday. I hope you enjoyed my very human video today, because the thing is that you can't do any of the spiritual stuff I talk about if you have poor human relations, okay? All right, have a great week. Bye-bye. I was gonna I was gonna try fake crying, but I can't do it. That was gonna be my intro, like a fake cry, but I can't. All right. Magic.